You were in for a big treat today. The great Mary Pettis is with us. Mary, welcome to day 289. We don't even have a name for this program.
Wow, thank you, Eric. I'm pleased to be here.
What are you going to do for us today?
Well, today we're going to talk about training the memory a little, and I'm going to do a larger painting from a small color study.
Oh, okay, so you're going to show us your painting process, but I'm curious about this memory thing. Tell me why that's important.
Well, memory training is really just, memory is just stored observation. And we do this anyway, naturally. Every time we look from our subject to our easel, we're memorizing. And so the point of training our memory is to increase that time between looking at our subject and looking at the canvas, and maybe ultimately being able to do an entire painting without a brush in your hand, in your head, and then eventually recreate it in the studio.
And why is that important?
Well, I think it's, if art is expression of the individual, I think training our memory is expressing what it is inside that's trying to get out. And that's different for every person, because every time we look at a subject, it impacts us individually. And that's why if we have Serov and Dan Graves and Dan Gerhardt and Richard Schmid and Cecilia Bow all painting on location, they'll all paint it differently. All the paintings will be unique and individual. And I think that's because I'd like to say it's that we bring it all to the easel. Every stored memory, every indication of what works and what doesn't, and that's a very individual thing. And
well, I also think, to that point, it's oftentimes you get out there and you get excited about something that you've seen. You get excited about a particular moment when the clouds were forming perfectly or the sun was shining perfectly. And sometimes that moment only lasts
yes,
a brief moment. And you tell yourself, I want to remember that because I want to get that down, or I want to add that to my studio painting later.
yes,
So you're going to kind of tell us how to do that. That's exciting.
yes, it's very ephemeral. Some of the best effects, that's for sure. And so,
well, why don't we just jump right into it? I'll just kind of back off. I'll ask some questions from time to time, talk about where some of the people are tuning in from. I want to remind our viewers that we're going to have in the comments, if you're telling us where you're from, we will be picking from comments and awarding prizes. And I will just tell you real quickly that we have the winner of yesterday's easel brush clip is Margot Shirowin from Texas. I don't know where in Texas. And today we're giving away my book, Make More Money Selling Your Art. So make sure you leave a comment. Last night on we had a cocktail New Year's party last night. And we had somebody tell us how his life changed and how he started selling more art than he ever thought possible after reading that book. So that's a little hint. Also, Mary, I'm going to announce a big painting giveaway today. I've got a $7,000 painting I'm going to give away, and we're going to talk about that later in the show.
okay.
Okay, take it away, Mary.
Okay. Well, one of the ways that I train my memory, and this is just for myself, but this is an experience. We'll just get an overview of 90 minutes. So this is a lament that a lot of plein air artists have, but that's the thrill and the joy of it. And is that everything in nature changes so fast. And so this is the painting that I did on a pasture in the area here that I loved the shape and I loved the design. And there was something that drew me, but I didn't know if I could exactly put my finger on it right away. But I knew that it was going to rain, and so I got in the important things to me as quickly as I could. And then sure enough, so this probably took about 35 minutes. And then sure enough, it rained. But instead of painting, I just stopped and stood under my umbrella and studied the different effects of what was happening that was different. Like the edges were more diffused, the colors got darker, the value range got closer together. And it was really an interesting thing. And so I tried to commit that all to memory. And then the rain passed, and I have to skip to this one because this is the one I'll be copying. But then the rain passed, and I visited with my fellow painter and came back and took everything down, my whole setup, and all of a sudden the sun came out, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And so I did the same thing again. I just tried to lock in that just extraordinary ephemeral effect, and probably only had about 5 minutes to do it. But I noticed the biggest things. All of a sudden, the story changed. I could see the story is not going to be about the beautiful relationship of the masses. When the sun came out, it was all about the light and the low light in the sky and the upright planes here that were casting the shadows, the upright planes of the fence line, which brings all kinds of associations and metaphor, which I'm all about in terms of expression. So, and then as I was turning away, the last light of the day just got increasingly dramatic, and I tried to grab it, but I wasn't sure how much information I had that was on the mark. So, but I still thought that I would try to commit it to memory and do it in the studio when I got home, and to see how much I remembered. But I like this one better because I know that this every one of the important aspects was really locked in. And so this is the one that I will be copying during my demo today. And I have my paints all mixed up.
All right, I want to ask you a question real quickly because I
Yes.
got confused. The third one down, that was done from memory.
Yes.
That was not done on location.
The only one that was done on location is the top one.
Oh, and then, okay, so I thought you painted after the rain, but you just
No.
remembered it from the rain.
Nope, this one I did on location. And because the shapes and the drawing was fairly similar, I didn't have that much to remember. So this is what I did on location in a half an hour, and then came home and did these three from memory. This is what happened next. And then the sun came out, and then this is the evening light.
Okay, now you got to tell us how to do that.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get
I mean, how to do the memory part.
You know, I think the most important thing is taking the time to contemplate on the front end, and you build up. I started this way back with Richard Lack in I think 1974 from Lakota Bobadron's book, The Training of the Memory in Art and the Education of the Artist, which
Right.
is now in reprint, but it's pretty dull reading. But anyway, I've tried memorizing the different things like Richard Schmid's color charts. When he no longer had to carry them with him, he had trained his eye to his memory for how the colors played together. And you can do the same thing with shapes. And I guess what I do is I'll practice like this, and then come home and practice in my head on the front end, just trying to lock in what it is that's moving me. And memory can be both technical, depending on my artistic intent, but it can also be sensual. The visual impression is probably what I try to memorize first, but also the other senses, the smell of the pine, or the sound of the wind on my face, the sound of the rain on the banana leaves, or whatever. Just recalling all of those sensory things that will impact and somehow find their way into a painting. So it's been a slow process, but I've been painting for 45 years, and this is kind of about where I'm at now.
Well, I'd say you're doing pretty well.
So, thank you.
Yeah, you're an excellent teacher. Why don't we go ahead and get started on the painting?
Okay.
So we want to give you ample amounts of time.
Yes, I appreciate that. So I do want to say one last thing. I think how a subject impacts us and what we remember about it is deeply personal, and art is highly individual. And so what we remember is a good way to know what is inside of us trying to get out. So
Excellent.
Okay, so let's we'll set up.
I'm just going to quickly, while you're getting the camera ready, I'm going to show a couple of your paintings.
Thank you.
And then I'm just going to show everybody a couple of other things. So here's a beautiful, just a really beautiful piece. It shows that you've been painting for 40 years. It's incredible. Lovely, lovely.
Thank you.
Just incredible. I love this. Okay. Couple more. Just a lot of variety. It's really terrific. So I'll tell you guys real quickly, we're giving away a $7,000 painting. I don't have the size, but I think it's pretty big. It's a Thomas Schaller painting. He said this would sell in the gallery for $700 to $7,500. We're giving away at paintinggiveaway.com. If somebody will type that and put it into the comments, we're going to give it away during Watercolor Live. You don't have to be in attendance to win, but of course we'd like you to be. And so go to paintinggiveaway.com, put your information in, and do that. That would be a great thing for you to do. And I'm going to show this to you real quickly. This is just 15 seconds.
Join the world for Watercolor Live, the ultimate watercolor learning event, January 27th to 30th. 4 days of online art lessons from top master watercolor artists from around the globe. Learn to paint nature, people, cityscapes, flowers, and more. Become a better artist. Click the link to learn more and get our free ebook, 101 Watercolor Secrets from the Top Masters.
We're happy to have over 1,400 people signed up for Watercolor Live already. So that's pretty cool. And the price is going to go up by $500 on Sunday. So get it done before Sunday. And it's a money back guarantee. So if after you watch for the first day, if you don't feel like you got your money's worth for the whole week in the first day, you can get your money back. That's how confident we are you're going to like it. Okay, we're going to get back to Mary. And Mary, looks like we've got the camera beautifully set up. Perfect. All right. Can you hear us? We can't hear you. Mary, we're not, you're frozen up now, and I'm coming back on here just in case. We're not hearing Mary. So if Mary, on your end, if you can hear us, do something about your audio. The magic of live. You could write help. Can you write help on your canvas? If that's, wave your brush if you can hear me, because we can't hear you. I don't think she's hearing us. All right. So let's see here. I'm not sure what to do here. Mary? Mary, can you hear me? Okay. So you guys in the comments, let's see if this is funny. I know. Laugh out loud. So Mary seems to have lost the audio and probably thinks I'm still talking about other things. And so I don't know how we get her attention. I guess I'll just stand here and we'll hope she starts painting or eventually figures this out. I hope you guys had a good time. A lot of us were, about a couple hundred of us on our New Year's cocktail hour painting along last night. If you want to post your paintings, if you're in the Dreamliners, post your paintings in the Dreamliners. We'd love to see what you painted last night. If you're not, you can join the Dreamliners. I don't have her phone number, Deborah. She says, call her on the phone. I'll do a little dance. I don't think we can't hear you. Not hearing you. Okay. Well, I could just sit here all day long. I'm going to take her out and then take her back in. Can you hear me now? Oh, there we got audio now. Okay. All right.
Back.
Good.
Back.
I was trying to improvise, trying to get your attention because we couldn't hear you. All right. Take it away, Mary. Sorry, everybody. I think we've lost her audio again. We might just be, I might have to do play-by-play. Well, I'm going to add her back in again, see if it makes a difference. You guys can watch her paint. I'm going to call my assistant and see if she can get a hold of Mary. Okay? Okay, we're trying to get a hold of Jen, her assistant, who's helping out. Mary, we cannot hear you if you hear me. Okay, well, I'll start reading comments. Blue shop towels. Okay, good. Now she's wiping out. I'm doing play-by-play. She had a toned canvas. She's wiping out. Now what is she doing? Can't see it. Putting in the building. Okay. We like watching her. I'm going to try this, taking her out one more time real quickly. Okay, that's not working. Okay, hopefully we'll get in touch with her assistant. Hey there, Jen.
Yeah.
You cannot hear Mary. Her audio is off.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so from
Can you hear her now?
Yeah, I'm hearing her through the other stream. Yes, I am now.
Okay.
So just
Okay,
keep that other one open.
Yep.
so the best laid plans goes awry.
Okay, now we're getting feedback because of two cameras having audio on.
That's too bad.
Maybe we can mute. I'll mute the other. I'll tell you what. I'll mute
her phone.
Okay, I've muted her other camera. Now she can talk. Let's see if it works.
Okay. Well, I've worked from the basic shape, laid a tone in, and now I'm doing line. And
Okay,
generally what I
hold
do is
it.
I go from line to shape.
Wait just a minute, Mary.
All right.
Hey, Jen.
Yeah.
Turn the volume down on the camera that is doing the painting. Turn it down all the way so she's only hearing the volume on the other camera that you and I are talking through.
Okay, so let's try this.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
there.
better.
All right.
Great. Well, sorry about that, everyone. It was working great half an hour ago, so I don't know what happened.
Well, at least now people know it's live. It's not pre-recorded, right?
Yeah, right. Well, we see that on the news. We've seen that a lot this year with the various challenges that people have, having to go online and do everything that way. So basically what I'm doing is, first of all, I laid a tone on the canvas so that one of the first things that I see is evidence of the finished product. And then, someone just came in. And so, I mean, evidence of the finished painting as soon as possible. And that usually goes in the direction that I view nature, and that is line, shape, and then the values, and then the colors and the edge and the texture. in that order. And so,
Can you say that again? Line,
yes,
shape, value.
the order that I teach and that I work in, and also the way that I think about a painting, in my process is first line, and then shape, and then the color, and then edges and texture. And I'll just show you, this is what I mean by line, just a gestural line. This is how I look at the shape. I try to abstract it as easily as I can, and then I dissect the values, do a value study. Now, this is all what I do in my head, but line, shape, value. And then this is if I analyze it, kind of an analytical way that I separate the planes and think about the artistic anatomy of the trees. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay, line, shape, value, color, edge, and texture. So
So
first
it
of
looks
all,
like
I'm
you're
going
using kind of a purple for the back distance of the trees. Is that right?
yeah, I'm just kind of a warm and cool, but it is a mixture of alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue,
Okay.
basically, and a little red, a little transoxide brown. The colors that we're using are posted, that I'm using are posted on the website and the brand on my website.
Okay, and your website is marypettis.com.
MaryPettis.com. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I have it on the screen. Somebody will put it in the comments as well.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing this.
Okay, so now that's the big upright plane, the influence of the large shapes here. Now I try as quickly as I can to get to the important stuff. And so I'm going to go right in after I have this dark mass. I'll lay in a few other colors. I'm comparing these piles to my color study.
Now you're really painting thick now.
Yeah, that's because I'm pretty sure, because of the time constraints, I'm doing this similar to the way I would do a quick color sketch. But I thought it would be, it's a little scary working this large and this quick, heavy at first, but I thought that would add a little thrill. And
It is. It's very thrilling. I like the drama.
yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, now there are also cools down in these fence posts, I noticed. The upright planes are going to be very warm, but there are a few other cools. So since I had it on my brush, and maybe a little bit in this.
Tell us about your brush. People are asking that question. And
yes,
you said that's on your website too?
The brushes everything. The brushes are flats mostly. I like bristle flats, number 4 to number 12. The one I'm using that I happen to grab right now is a Signet, number 10, Robert Simmons. And the panels that I love are done by Lakeside Studios, and that's I like working on a Clausen's linen, and they do just great work. And mounted on gator board. I mean, not gator foam, gator board. Now I'll start right in with the plane, the flat plane, because that's one of the next largest masses. And I can carve around where most of the drama is going to be.
Is your goal to leave some of that underpainting coming through or not?
It probably will. I like that. It depends on my artistic intent. I think I'm going to lower the value of this round a little bit. The underpainting will probably influence a little bit how the finished painting looks if I choose to leave it in a bravura manner. And I think I want to have this painting be fairly bravura because that was how it impressed me. It impressed me as just the light slamming in, and
So that is very suited to a bravura approach. So
What does
if
that
I
mean,
leave some of
bravura?
those underlying colors, in, then
What is that?
that would be.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. What does bravura mean?
A bravura is painting with speed and velocity in your stroke. And most of the time with a lot of paint. And then, but it depends on the artistic intent. I've been having fun during COVID, kind of cross training, and I've been reading a little bit of Aristotle. Now my daughter, well, not Aristotle, but about Aristotle. My daughter's going to kill me. She doesn't like Aristotle because he apparently said that women have fewer teeth than men. And but he was married. Apparently, he never bothered to check. But anyway, she doesn't like Aristotle. But I think he wrote about oratory, which is a wonderful, the art of oratory, which is really interesting because it's an art form, and it is all about expression, which is what we are all about, is expression. And I love that the first thing he said is invention, which means you think about or take in what there is to say. And then his second thing was arrangement, which is what I'm kind of doing now. And we kind of do the same thing. All the arts are very much the same, and I love that. So we have to figure out how are we going to arrange what we say. And then it's the reason I bring Aristotle up is because then he said style is the third thing. So, and this is all about style. A bravura style is different than maybe a different approach that I might take if I were doing a more classical landscape. So it depends on the style is you decide the manner in which you want to say it and who your audience is. So
Well, do you have different styles?
Yes. And that's just because I'm older. Just because I've been doing this a long time. I really, I'm kind of jealous of some of my painter friends who knew 40 years ago exactly how they wanted to paint. Whereas I've just been, I just want to learn it all. I have this restlessness inside trying to figure out what it is that I want to say and how I'm going to get it out. So I try to learn as much as I can, and then depending on how something is impressing me, then hopefully I'll have the vocabulary to plunk in whatever style is the most appropriate for that audience or that impression. You know, it's different if we're painting in a plein air event, or if I'm doing a demo, or if it's a commissioned piece, and it's different if it's depending on what kind of if it's a competition. And then the Impressionist Society is interested in impressionism, and it's nice to be trained in the classical style as well, because sometimes some subjects are more noble and more suitable. It's, like I said, the first thing that he said is take in or think about what there is to say. And in something like this, you can see from, just even 90 minutes, there are so many different things that we can say about a scene. And if the goal of our art is if art is the expression of the feelings and the intellect and the impression of the artists, then I think it's oops, just a second here.
Mary, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question, and of course, I already forgot what it was. I guess that was too much tequila last night. So you are, I was going to ask you if you would pull up your study so people could see that, because we've had about 400 people join in since you showed it. All right. Terrific.
What I like to do take, if I'm not certain about a color, when I'm matching a color, I'll put it on a piece of photograph and measure the color from my palette on this little strip of, I cut photographs in little strips, and instead of using glass or cellophane or different things, I'll put the mark here like this and then hold it against the study that I'm copying to see if I'm in the mark. I'm kind of in the same
Okay.
arena. That's a handy thing that I use.
All right. Somebody asked what kind of easel you're using.
This is a Hughes easel model 3000, and my favorite plein air studio easel is probably the Soltec. And but in the studio, I love this because I can work extremely large. I can do large,
Oh,
6 by.
I've got the view on. Show everybody how you can move it around real quickly.
Oh.
Because I have the other camera showing. You don't have to move it.
Oh.
Okay, just move the easel up and down real quick and side to side real quick, just so they can see that.
This is so handy it's all fingertip touch and it's weighted, and it's wonderful for large paintings especially. And I love to work large in the same way as working with heavy paint. It stretches.
Okay, now we need to get the canvas lined up again for the camera. There we go.
There we go.
Perfect. All right. I hope that was helpful, everybody.
Back in business.
Back in business, baby.
Yeah. This is fun.
You're so good at this. You're a good teacher, Mary.
Oh, well, thank you. I do like leaving this area. I'm trying in some places not to get too close to the darks, to keep my lights fairly pure and the darks fairly pure. But right now, my main goal is to cover, or at this point, I want to just be sure that I have the big effect of light slamming in on these. This will be the upright plane of the grasses. And I'm painting more from memory right now than from the color study because it's faster. So there might be a little deviation, but there are things that I like that I remember that I didn't get in the color study also.
Hey, Mary, you've been painting for, well, how many years did you say? 40 years?
Probably 45 since Richard Lax.
And by the way, what a great experience to be part of the LAC training experience. So if you were starting from scratch, knowing what you know now, what's your best advice to somebody who's just taking up painting?
Find a good teacher, find a good mentor, and get good books, and do lots and lots of small color studies. I think those are the best. Just don't be too attached to the end result when you're first starting out. Do a lot of small Rhoads. I think that's really
Rhoads or studies, or etudes.
Small studies, and look at a lot of art, and copy. Oh, I think I like using memory training for quick 1 hour studies, and then use an egg timer. I think that's very useful. And make yourself stop after an hour, because one of the biggest things that can destroy the inspiration of a beginning painter is to have to make it perfect. But when you have a 1 hour timer, then you have a really good excuse. Whoops, I bumped them. You have a really good excuse for all the people that want to come and look over your shoulder and say, well, that doesn't look like anything. Because you can say, well, I only did it in an hour. It's just a study. So.
Well, that's that's great advice.
Yeah, I think, but I know a lot of people that have painted for 40 years that are just spinning their wheels still also. So I think that's why we have wonderful mentors like Richard Schmid, who wrote the book Alla Prima, and all the wonderful videos that you do now that, gosh, where were you 40 years ago, Eric? That would have saved me a lot of time and heartache.
Well, think about this, Mary. We did not, you didn't have any of that stuff back then. I think Johnny
No.
Lillidahl started it out 35 years ago. But imagine if we had video on Sargent or Soroya or Zorn or any of those folks. It would be so magical. So the people in the future are going to be very lucky to be able to see people like you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, no kidding. That is a wonderful thing that you're adding to the world of art by doing these documentations of the artists who are, and we truly have the most incredible artists painting now today. I think it's really important to copy the masters and become familiar with the masters, which I might add is another benefit of memory training, is that you get more out of your museum visits. You can, in the same way, go and study a master painting and try to see if you can figure out why it works. But anyway, yeah, it's good all of that is good. But then do color studies from museum copies as well, or from a book. You can teach yourself if you can train your memory. I think our brains are wired naturally to prioritize and organize, and that's why it's important not to work from photographs. But if you are working, I think training your memory helps not let photographs screw up a good start. A lot of times people will bring their paintings back, and they love their painting, and they start trying to finish it from a photograph. And I mean, we've all been there. We all have done that, and just utterly ruin any hope of having expression and the beauty that inspired us to paint it in the first place. This is going to be kind of fun here, slamming in some color. We'll just keep the paint juicy and exciting. It's important to think about the source of the light, the color of the light, and the angle of the light, and understand that as we move away from the angle of the light, in other words, the more perpendicular that something is to the source of the light, the more that light will hit it, and it will be a lot more brilliant. And the other thing is, as of course with recession, as the subject moves away from you, it will change also in color temperature. So that's what I'm trying to get a little bit of drama here.
Color temperature changes as it moves away. Does that mean gets darker or yellower?
Oh, okay. Generally speaking, as in most lighting situations, the color of the light it goes through the rainbow. It gets yellow and then orange. Okay, like this green, for example. There's in close-up, there's more yellow in the green, and then the value changes, but we add more orange to it, and then an orange-red, and then a cadmium red mixture, and that's what we add to the green for a recession in green. The same thing happens with the light post. As it moves away, we lose the yellow and move through orange, and then ultimately more of a red.
How do you learn that?
Yeah, good teachers. But that's basically, and then being on location and trying to figure. I'm fortunate to live in the St. Croix River Valley, and there's a beautiful gorge that is of rocks. It's a big glacial gorge, and I forgot to put the tree trunk in. And so it just comes from trying to memorize how one area is different from another area, and what color is going to be necessary to mix in order to get it to still look like rocks. And so generally speaking, it will, in other words, as we go back on the shadows, the shadows generally get lighter and cooler as we move back on a normal day and an average day with a blue sky or even a thin overcast. That doesn't necessarily happen when the sun is lower because we're talking about the source of the light being down. Anyway, that doesn't matter. So the shadows.
You just got to get out and do it, don't you?
Pardon me?
You just have to get out and do it and start seeing it. And you get all those studies done, you'll start seeing these recessions in color.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from copying just out of my book because we're fairly far away from museums. Well, it takes an hour, but I'd love to copy paintings from museums, but I find that I can just copy little paintings out of books like Levitan, like 5x6s or 4x8s, and just try to match the color with the photograph, like I was talking about. And a lot of times I will learn about my misconceptions by putting down a color that I think is right and then comparing it with the slip of photograph and finding out that, oh no, I was, one example is when I was copying Levitan and I wonder if I have, oh, I should have kept.
Mary, I'm taking a group of people to Russia in September, and we're going to go paint in two places where Levitan and Repin and Shishkin and all those people painted.
I am so excited for you. I would love to join you in that. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the cards, but yeah, when I went to Russia, it was an incredible experience. We rode on a 10-hour train ride to Kazan, to the home of Etchin, and wow, it was just like all the Shishkins and the paintings that I had studied, except it was real life happening. We peered through the window of the train.
We're breaking up.
It,
Your voice is breaking up. I'm not sure why. Probably internet.
it's in the Okay. So we're getting pretty close to being at the end of the first stage here. And how far, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think anyone that can travel to see the Russian painters, that would be a tremendous, yeah, that would be a tremendous trip, Eric.
It's going to be fun. We found on my last day when I was there, I went out to visit an artist friend of mine that I met on Facebook. And he insisted, he came into Moscow and showed me his studio in Moscow. And then he insisted that I come out to his village. And I didn't really have time, but I said, you know, it really means a lot to him. So I did. And he takes me to this place, which was a summer retreat, essentially a property owned by a wealthy collector. And he took us there and showed us all these old buildings and so on and old studios. And it turns out that's where all these painters came for the summers. And then he said, okay, see that scene over there? That's this painting. And then he'd pull it up on his phone. And,
wow.
And so here we were in this place. So we're going to spend a day painting there. It's going to be fun.
Oh, that's going to be amazing. What a great thing you're doing. Okay, let's see. I'm going to look in. Oh, yeah, it's getting there. Oh, this is fun. Yeah. Okay, now that I have all the big masses fairly filled in, I'm not sure if the camera's picking up a lot of the glare.
Nope, not a lot.
Okay, then just working, I would say that this would be 2/3 of the way done now. And now I would probably switch to a little, well, certainly a different brush. I've been using the same brush throughout here. But now that the paint has covered the entire thing and I have kind of a sense of the finished painting in my head and evidence of what it's going to look like when it's finished. Now I can go down the list. Let's see. So line, I had the line in the drawing. The shapes, got the big shapes masked in. The color, I have warm, cool, which gives it a sense of vibrancy. And rich color with the low light, the drama of the upright planes, because and the best way to get that, if you noticed when I brought in the dark shadows behind it, these forms really popped. Let me smooth that out just a little bit.
All right.
See
and you
this.
guys, if you're watching and you're loving this, hit the like button or the happy button or the heart button or something, because we'd like to see if you guys are loving this or not. I'm sure you are.
Yeah, thank you. So just smoothing these out just a little bit is now moving into the edge and texture aspect of it.
Okay.
Working the edges, trying to keep the drama. There are a few. I might do some final getting these other fence posts in. I'm going to
So
use
now
them.
you're using a palette knife. Tell me why.
Because I'm running out of time, number one, and that is number two. That's a really good way to not feel at this stage like I have to control everything, because you can't always control everything perfectly when you're with the painting with the knife, palette knife. But I do like the way that I can apply paint and also scrape into it I'll use a different. I like these fence posts were connected by wires, so that's a way to
Kind of hard to do that with a brush. isn't it?
applying a little bit of detail. Yeah. So that's kind of fun. And let's see. Okay, and then carving out anything. Now toward the end, what I do then is squint down and try to figure out what it is that's destroying or jarring or taking away from the feeling. For me, it's all about the expression of the person being so personal and expressive, and that's what it's all about. So if anything is not sympathetic, if it's too jarring, in other words, or if there are edges that are too sharp, or there's too much chroma in the back, that's what I would do next before I would call this painting complete. And that is give everything kind of the once over and be sure as I sweep my eye around that nothing is too jarring. This is fun working this large. And
You're doing great.
yeah, thank
you.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, you
If
can kind
you're,
of.
we've got a pretty big audience today, Mary. You're a rock star.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you.
And if you're tuning in for the first time, we're here every day at 12 noon weekdays, and then every day at 3 o'clock we share some of our art instruction videos, and today will be no exception. So make sure you check it out today at 3 o'clock. We're on YouTube or Facebook, oftentimes replayed on other places. Today, John McDonald is going to be on with Poetic Landscapes at 3 p.m. So join us for that as well. Mary, this is terrific. I'm going to shut you down in about 5 minutes.
All right. Okay, so one of the last things is the accents. I want to be sure that there's the drama that works with the whole painting. Now I start thinking about the metaphor of the painting, like, is this a barrier or is it going to be an invitation to go deeper into the recesses of the forest? When I'm not talking and I'm just painting, there's a lot of things that I think about in the back of my mind, just kind of automatically. and that things like, recalling experiences that I had checking the fence line when I was a kid, or walking in the woods, that kind of thing, that we want to bring those things to the front. And and think about what it means. Like when I first did the value study of this scene and when I was on location, one thing that was interesting to me was that the value of the flat plain and this sloping hillside back here was almost exactly the same value. And I thought, well, I've got to fix that because it's a sloping plane. It should be something different, but it should read differently because it's sloping, not flat. But nature presented it as the same value. And so then I think about things like that, and I think, well, why, if I keep it like that, what will happen? And then I think that this is a gift from my muse to think about this passage in here as a threshold, an invitation to a place of spaciousness where my heart has already gone beyond here, and it can easily go in and lead us to that sense of infinity in the distance that the Hudson River painters and all those guys like to get in their work. And thinking about the mystery of the woods and fun romping around, all those associations come to bear in these final stages when we do kind of a little gut check at the end. So this is pretty, I'm fairly happy with this. All of the forms do what they're supposed to do. I would say probably I'm 80% there to being able to keep it a loose, bravura, impactful reproduction of this memory that I had. But it was done. I was able to do this fast because it was locked into my memory.
Oh, that was psychedelic. That we had a little feedback there. It was kind of like a 60s moment.
Yeah, that's kind of when we were at the end of the paint. My daughter used to paint with me. Now she lives in Scotland, but at the end of a successful painting, one of us would maybe be lost in thought, and the other would go zippity doo dah, zippity yay. That means that the painting went really well. That it was a good day painting, and on the days when it didn't go well, the song that would come forth is "Don't worry, be happy."
Okay, well, I think we're all going to put zippity doo dah in the comments because you did such a fabulous job here, Mary. Why don't you, let's see here. Now I'm going to bring you on the other camera here. Now turn around and we'll talk for a minute. You don't need, yeah. So terrific. And hang on just a second. We will. Okay, terrific. Mary, this has been fabulous. What are people going to find if they go to your website, marypettis.com?
Oh, we have the paints that, well, besides my paintings and my spiels and the stuff that I like to write about to humor myself, we'll find the painting list, the supplies list, my panel maker, who also does my frames, and I think I bullet pointed the benefits of memory training because I didn't think I'd really remember them all and be able to make a good case.
Wait a minute. That was a classic moment. You can't remember your bullet points for memory training.
yeah, right. Yeah, well, like I said, this is something I'm working on, Eric. I'm working on it. So just with time constraints, I didn't know if I'd get to it, and I didn't want to miss something important. So we have our bullet list of a few benefits of memory training, and then I think and then I want to say there's also a handbook that I have. It's not a book. It's a handbook where I talk about line, shape, value, and the abstract aspects of those.
I have that.
Yeah, pardon me?
I have that. You sent that to me.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You do have that.
Yes.
So anyway, that's kind of what I think, and I use it as a handbook for my students and people that are interested in the wheels that are turning way too much otherwise, but it's kind of fun to get it down.
I would like to encourage everybody to visit Mary's website, marypettis.com, and it's on the screen. And we are, the reason we're doing these every day is to keep you occupied, distracted from all the drama of 20 and now 21, and to keep you upbeat and feeling good about yourself. And we also want to support our fellow artists, so if you love to buy paintings, go there and find out how to buy a painting, or visit her galleries, or get her books or videos or whatever. I mean, we all want to help each other out. So Mary, thank you so much for being on today. You were a true inspiration. You're such a good teacher and such a fabulous painter. And we all just wish we could be so good.
Oh, well, that it's a moving, we're compared to the masters, we're all kind of in the same boat. So it's
you're
just a glorious pursuit.
You certainly are in that category of masters, and it's nice because painting just keeps you young and vibrant and feeling good, and you're getting outdoors painting, and I think it's a beautiful thing. Well,
that's right.
Thank you so much, Mary. Our guest today, Mary Pettis, and we will visit your website. So thanks, Mary. So hang with me for just a second. I didn't even say who I was at the beginning of this, not that you care, but my name is Eric, and I run a magazine called Plein Air Magazine, one called Fine Art Connoisseur, and Streamline Art, which is a whole bunch of things, retreats for artists. We have products for artists, videos, training videos, over 600 of them. And that's all found at streamlinepublishing.com and /everything. And you can find that. You can find our magazines at Barnes & Noble. #1 selling art magazine in America is Plein Air. Find Plein Air and Michaels. And we have a Plein Air podcast. We have an Art Marketing Minute. And today I'm giving away a copy of my book for comments. So make sure you leave a comment. We're going to try to pick one of you for that. Coming up this weekend, Sunday, I have Sunday Coffee. It's a blog I do, and that is every Sunday, and you can just go to coffeewitheric.com and check that out. And so lots going on. And we have a free gift for you, and that is, let's see if I can find that. We have a free gift, and that is a video. It's a 2-hour video, 97 amazing painting secrets from the world's top artists. Just go to 97tips.com. A reminder, we're here every day at noon. You can find us on YouTube, and you can find all 289 days on YouTube, including the 12 noon and the 3 p.m.s that we're doing. We have the Plein Air Salon Art Competition. Got to get your entry in before the end of January. You have a chance of winning up to $30,000 in prizes, a $15,000 grand prize. And last but not least, we have Watercolor Live coming up. And be sure and sign up for Watercolor Live. I'm a plein air painter. I'm mostly an oil painter, but I'm excited about this because I want to learn how to increase the quality of my watercolor paintings, because I can't always carry my big painting kit with me. So thank you for tuning in. Remember that it's crazy out there. We're dealing with virus. We're dealing with fear. We're dealing with all the crazy political situation. And I just want to remind you that give yourself oxygen, right? You have to do things for yourself that you love. If you sit around and spend all of your time getting consumed by the negativity, and I do it too. I will spend countless hours on various social media platforms, and it's like it becomes so negative. And so I'm trying to shed that from my life, trying to shed the news from my life. I'm not ignoring it. I'll watch it, get the basics, but I'm not going to sit there for 4 or 5 hours and just allow that black cloud to consume me. And that's why we're doing this every day, is to give you something to look forward to. We've been at it 289 days since coronavirus began. We will continue to be here for you as long as we need to be, and keep you positive and upbeat, and focus on doing something that you love. Maybe you're not an artist, and maybe you'd like to be. Anybody can learn how to paint. Anybody. I have a program called paintbynote.com. There's 3 or 4 free lessons in there, teach you how to paint at the very, very beginner level, and anybody can learn this. Of course, if you want to get really sophisticated, go to somebody like Mary Pettis and see if you can get her to teach you, or attend a workshop or something like that, because you'll get so much value out of it. And as she says, if you start with a good instructor from the beginning And don't be so hung up on being self-taught. You will take leaps and bounds ahead of where you really need to be or can be just by getting with somebody good. So thank you for tuning in, and make sure if you liked Mary, hit the like button or the happy buttons or the heart buttons or something, and make sure to leave a comment, because we are going to be going back through the replays tonight and picking winners for our prize, the book Make More Money Selling Your Art, which you can find on Amazon. I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher, founder, Plein Air Magazine, Fine Art Connoisseur. Thank you for tuning in today, and thank you again to Mary Pettis at marypettis.com. Bye-bye.